Hey guys, thanks for waiting to watch this week's Talent Talk. I'm your guest host, Chingaze, and I haven't figured out how to hit the go live button. Not yet. Anyway, so the shows are available in their entirety this season on podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. That's where you'll find us. And just a reminder, this is live now, and you can ask us questions or just say hello. So today I feel very lucky because I have a filmmaker, a mom, a meditator, Miss Nina Sudra. Damn it. I knew I was going to get that wrong, and I have. So, without further ado, and for the second time in my office, please help me welcome Nina Sudra. There she is. Hello.
Hi, Sudra.
You know what? Does it have to be? Does it have to be?
It doesn't. Honestly, does it? It doesn't. It's a name. Whatever. What's in a name?
You know, people have to stop calling us things. I think that's what it is. We should start with that.
Yeah,
So, for the people out there in the world, I hit live because it's the thing you hit to make this happen. But then there's a button that says, "Are you sure?" And I just moved on with my life. Now let's try and recalibrate how we started this. Do you remember? I'm sure I said something witty, and then you smiled. I fell in love a little, and then it was like, oh, damn it. No, Nina, thank you so much for joining us, first of all, because I know you're busy and you're working away, and I thought you were filming, but you weren't filming today. You were filming yesterday.
Yeah, I was filming yesterday, and and then I actually have another life calling that I do on Saturdays.
Another life calling you get paid for.
I do get paid for it.
That's a job. That's what those are.
Is it?
Jobs. I mean, they are. I don't know. I don't really get paid for much.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I don't get paid, right? And sometimes I do. So
okay. Well, I do like your space. It's very calming. Although I am a little terrified of UV rays, so I can see sunlight coming through the trees. So that could make me a little nervous.
Yeah, that tree, man. It's just like always like that too. I don't know. It's like the most amazing window.
It's always daylight, just there.
It's fantastic.
Okay, so I was again, thank you for joining us on this thing. Let's discuss what this thing is. But first, I was trying to think about how we met. Do you remember at all? At all?
I do. Do you?
Well, I feel like you picked me up on the street.
I did.
Yeah. Not picked up. We're both in loving, committed relationships. But we were, yeah.
I think it was during Calgary International
It was during CIF, which stands for the Calgary International Fish Festival, as the people in the business might not know, but now they do.
Yeah. And we were leaving. I remember. Do you know what? I think it was that day. Was it that day? It was like I was having like a wicked day that day because I think there was a full moon. Yeah, there's a full moon that was like a pivotal day for me because I also met Omar Cotter that day. Do you know who Omar Cotter is?
No, I know exactly who that is. And the funny thing was I bumped into him as I was leaving. So here's the thing. I don't remember what film, because in my mind, everyone watched a film. Then I ran out of there, and then there was an after party or something. And I thought we met on the street going, oh, you're dressed well. Like, what are you? Oh, you're going there. I'm walking that way too. I thought that was it. But the Omar Cotter thing, that was weird because I remember seeing that documentary, and I remember there was a talk with the lawyer who was helping him out and sort of sponsoring and doing all that. I forgot his name. And then I had to run out of there to see another movie because I used to like SIF and Comic-Con were these things that I would I'd go watch 28 movies at SIF, like way more than you should. And I remember running up the stairs to get out of the theater and bumping into this incredibly tall guy. And I went, oh, sorry, man. And he went, and I went, yeah, excuse. And I went around him. And then as I was leaving, I was like, that was him. Did I just give him the best? Did he just have the best experience? Someone saw him face to face and didn't even like make a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, did I? And I'm like, oh, I should have probably said hi to him after. And I just went off. But you actually got to meet the guy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So because I remember that night, I think I met you on the same street, like right outside of the Globe.
Right.
And he came out, and I was actually pitching this film that we're trying to do a bunch. I was trying to get another film made from this film I made called "Growing Up Among Strangers," which was a documentary about ethnically diverse youth balancing two cultures.
Okay.
One thing at home and one thing out the door when they're out the door. And I wanted to give that film to Nenshi. That's actually who I wanted to give the film to, because I knew he'd be there. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the street and I'm like, whoa. And Omar Khader has, like, he had the most, he's just got this really gentle demeanor about him, right? And he was with somebody that I knew. And so it was sort of this random introduction on the street after mm-hmm. his screening. So he was kind of chillaxed. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hi, it's lovely to meet you. And I remember I like shook his hand and I'm like, I told him who I made this film and why don't you go watch it? Because he was still on lockdown. He was still under house arrest.
Okay.
I think, during that time. So he could only go, he had special permission to go to the screening and then he had to go back to his hotel room or whatever. Wow. And so like, here's a DVD, like you watch it. So I gave him my film.
You gave him Nenshi's DVD, Nenshi's copy.
Yeah, exactly. Nenshi. And this is like, we had this like really beautiful connection. And I just told him like, because I obviously have been following his story from the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And it was I was able to give him did I give him a hug? I feel like I gave him a hug. I feel like we had a moment, and it like he had this like super gentle, lovely demeanor about him. I was like, whoa, this guy's he's been through a lot. And you could kind of see, like you could just tell, right? Like this guy's been through a lot, but he oozes with compassion. Mm-hmm. It was so cool. On that same night, I met you randomly, like on the street. I think it was that same night. And I think I just felt like I knew you.
Okay.
Because you're always like, hey, how's it going? And you're really well dressed.
I'm not sure about the finger guns. I'm not sure what that's about. I rarely use finger guns. Although during COVID, when you covered this up, I have become a guy who does this a lot. Like way too much. Do you know what I mean? Something that I think you could get away with just a little smirk back in the day. And now it's like, and then they understand.
More body language. You need more body language.
I suppose.
At times you need more.
Yeah, I have more body now after COVID, so there's that. Maybe I'll just train it better. Well, there's that thing where you kind of, if you're sort of a fake open book, as an actor, I think the word fake can be put in front of every damn thing you do. Do you know what I mean? So, but yes, I'm kind of an open book. So yeah, people feel like they know me a little bit. They don't. Tick off the thing. It says, thanks. I know you're super busy. How'd we meet? Check. You could do something during this part where I'm down at this. You could just,
you could dance with my.
You know what? We. Yeah, actually, hold on. How long have you been? Oh, I don't want to interrupt that. Whatever that is.
It's my dance. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's good. Well, you know what?
Ask. Yeah, go for it.
It's a good way of like if you're kind of feeling like I'm kind of nervy and stuff.
Yeah, which I always am.
Ooh,
well, I always think they're going to find out. Do you know what I mean? Like someone, maybe the government, they'll just find out and ask me to leave the country.
Like, do you feel like it's oh my God, someone's going to find out like the real thing that's going on within me?
Oh God, yes. Oh yeah. But now I don't know what are you doing something? I don't want to be racist, but slightly Indian, because here's the thing. Because I am also slightly Indian.
Yeah, that's what you get away with so much.
But here's the thing. In Tai Chi, check this shit out right here. Look, I'm bringing in some stuff. I'm bringing in some energy, and I'm letting go of bad energy. I'm bringing in good energy. If I shut up and let it, look at that.
Totally.
We just lost a viewer.
I love.
And I hope they're having a good day.
I love that you just mentioned Tai Chi. I freaking love that.
Okay.
Because one of the things Why?
Wait, is that a lit candle behind you? Because I will not have it.
That is
That's
like
is it,
Himalayan. That is
is
a
it lit
Himalayan.
or is it like fake?
That is real. I do not do the fake. That is a real
Yeah, I'm not going to
fire.
be able to continue this, whatever this is, with that fire in your house. I just won't be able to do it. I won't do it. No, all right. Sorry. Well, what about Tai Chi, please?
All right. I love that you mentioned it because
Mm-hmm.
Tai Chi stems from Qigong. Have you ever heard of Qigong?
Absolutely. Yes. I'm a child of the
So
70s. I know martial arts. It's
you
all
know
from
it.
there. Yes. Keep going.
Qigong is that's I love Qigong. That's like one of
Okay.
my favorite
Okay.
things in the
It's
whole
the
wide world.
energy that is around the little, and then they can focus. That's the part that
Well,
I have a little harder time to believe with. But yes, I fully believe in. But you go. You
yeah,
go.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Chi. It's like it's playing with chi, right?
Yeah.
It's playing with this energy, and yeah. So when I was like, yeah, you can like move your hands around, and Tai Chi has like specific forms that you do, whereas Qigong is like anything goes. So you can totally just kind of sit there and play with energy, and you can feel it. You can start feeling it in between your hands. And if you've done Tai Chi, I'm sure you know exactly what that's about.
A little bit. I mean, I did Taekwondo as a kid,
Mm.
just because I had a buddy in it. So we did that for a long time. And I mean, I was like a dog to instructions sort of thing. We did it 4 days a week. I
Mhm.
missed one class in all my years of, like, so it was the real deal. But
Cool.
when it was explained to me, this energy that you sort of have around your body, it's an energy that everyone has. You can focus on it or not, but everyone has it. And it's the way you make a person feel when you walk into a room. You walk into a room and people are like, wow, cool. I want to whatever. Or they're like, well, all right, that person's here. And so everyone has it.
And that is actually like that would be kind of considered like your biosphere.
Okay.
That's like your aura, your auric
Okay.
field, which is
So,
part of the chi field.
mhm,
Chi is like it's kind of it's like universal energy. It's in Sanskrit it's what they would call prana. It's like full. It's everything, and in fact, it's always there. So
okay.
there's like earth chi,
Mhm,
and then there's they call it heaven chi or universal chi. That's like outside of you, and then we're
gotcha.
like humans on like a on a planet. I'm trying to like make like this is the planet.
That's fine. I'll take that as a planet.
This is the planet, and then like this is the human on the planet, and then you have all of this stuff around you, right? Like the sky and the universe and space, and that's
Mhm,
all chi. And these two forces, so Earth chi is continually rising,
okay.
and Heaven chi is descending. And these two forces are desperate to enter into earth beings. It's not just humans. I mean, animals, anyone, anything on the planet, including like rocks and stones, mountains,
Hmm,
everything has chi. And these two forces are continually coming in and out. So the more aware you are of it, the more open you are to it, the more we can start to feel it within our bodies. And the whole idea is that you end up having a harmonious flow of
mhm.
these two um, kinds of chi, if you want to call it that.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I got lost about 2 minutes ago staring at that goddamn candle. But thank you. I'm
Do you want
sure
me
the
to? Do you want me to
viewers.
do this? Wait,
No,
this?
no, yeah, no, don't do that. You're gonna hurt your back. Uh, hey, you want to talk films for a second?
Sure.
Hey, cool. So would it be right when I describe you, which is often, is it okay that I describe you as a filmmaker, not knowing what that means? Does that mean writer, producer, crafty? What are your jobs? What would you?
I love the term filmmaker
Okay.
because it can be like everything,
Hmm.
right? But yeah, so I am a writer. I do write. I produce typically I produce my own stuff,
Okay.
but really I'm a director and I love directing. That's like my favorite thing to do. And I do some mentoring, which is really like I love doing that.
Were you connected to Herland as well? I don't know why I feel like that was
Yeah,
totally.
Sandy
Totally.
Summers, the bomb.
Okay, so Sandy's the bomb diggity. I don't want to correct you because as a male, I don't think I should. But
Sure, you should never.
Never, ever,
Nicely
ever,
done.
ever. I've interviewed Sandy before, and I adore Sandy, and I know Sandy. I worked with her a little bit, but it was one of the more difficult interviews for me because it's like I had this overwhelming feeling of like I don't want to do this badly, and I don't want to embarrass myself in front of her.
You don't want to screw up. I get it.
Whereas I have a certain amount of respect for you, and I've been very lucky to work with you, and I'm happy to know you. But I don't have the fear. Do you know what I mean? You're not eliciting any fear out of me. But there's something about
Sandy just like elicits that.
Yeah, and like she's not wanting that. That's not her deal. Like she's just a very kind, open soul. But like for me, I'm just like, sorry, Sandy.
Because you look up to her, you really like see her.
Sorry, I said a joke, Sandy. I did. I think I did say Sandy. I equated Sandy to the Taliban once. I mean, we're over it, but it was a pretty good. You should the viewers get back and watch the Sandy's interview because that was good. Good shit, as they say. So I've done my 2 swears. Our producer says I'm allowed 2. Well, it's actually 3 S's for 1 F. That's what I can do. Hey man, you want to tell me about? I'm just going to say the title, Gandhi's Threads. Can you want to talk about that? Is that a film? Is that a doc? What is that? Is it a new line of clothing? Are you just like starting?
This is like a super exciting, really complicated, complex documentary.
Okay.
Really complex. It's not like it's wow, we just went in.
I warned you. I warned you about that.
Okay. Gandhi's Threads is a really exciting documentary. So a documentary about Gandhi's clothing choices. So imagining Gandhi as kind of a fashion icon.
Reimagining Gandhi as a fashion icon. How would he feel about that?
Well,
about his homespun. Everyone gets some homespun.
Yeah, that's what you think, right?
Okay.
Like when you think of Gandhi, you think of homespun. You never think of him as like, a guy wearing a 5-piece suit.
Are you talking about his lawyer days and his South African sort of time? Like, what do you?
We're going to be talking about his entire clothing journey from like the time he was, a kid, to what he wore, to when he was a lawyer, trying to like fit in with the British gentlemen's.
Yeah.
Right?
Complicated. I have a complicated. I adore Gandhi. His teachings. My grandfather did 2 walks with him. He gave a bunch of money to Gandhi and his causes because we were kind of affluent. But the walks were very cool. But I do have a complicated relationship with Gandhi just because, like no one's Gandhi. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's done a little bit of stuff. And he did a few things. But yeah, definitely trying to aspire to whatever the hell that British nonsense was at the time probably didn't serve him very well. Do you know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I mean, he admitted this. He's always said this. He says it in every single book that he's written a hell of a lot of. He wrote everything down, and he always starts he started his autobiography with, I am like, you cannot judge me for. I don't know the quote off by heart, but basically he's saying like, I'm still growing, I'm still shifting, I am flawed, and I'm not perfect. And that, he very much was a human as much as he was all of the amazing things. He was an astonishing man, but he was human and he had human flaws. And so in the documentary, we're sort of following his clothing choices and how they evolved and how he was evolving politically as well as spiritually, and how his clothing reflected whatever phase he was in, whatever he was kind of figuring out. And we end on the loincloth. And so that's kind of the main thread of the film. But then we're also following 3 characters, they're not characters, they're actually subjects. There's they're people who are, they all have a link within the fashion industry or as artists using textiles, and they're all activists that are very Gandhian in nature. And so just sort of bringing it into like today and this idea of modern civilization and what the, you know, this idea of accumulating wealth and this endless accumulation of wealth and consumption and what it's doing to how we've kind of really lost sight of a balanced life. And so yeah, so the film's like really exciting. So we've been developing it for a while, and I say we because I'm creating it with a really incredible
team person. Say what was that?
Talent.
Talent. Okay.
Her name's Kamala Parel-Nettle, and she is. So she's also a filmmaker, and her father. The whole idea actually evolved from her father, who was this brilliant Gandhian scholar who happens to live in Calgary, and he had written this. This talk about Gandhi's clothing and all of his clothing choices. And he said, you know, you should make this film. And I'm like, okay, I can't make a film about Gandhi. That's kind of massive. And my colleague, well, his daughter she's brilliant, and she's also a researcher. And, you know, has studied, she's a historian. So I was like, okay, well, she's smart. So she can do all the smart stuff. So yeah, it's kind of.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. I mean, that seems very interesting. And obviously, you know, our family has, you came from that part of the world.
Yeah.
Sort of half English and half Indian. That's kind of where we came from. But I love the fact that his evolution goes from the incredibly immaculate suits to rags that were made by himself or the wife or hanger-oners or whatever. And, you know, he goes from the richest dapper looking he was never rich, but like the richest dapper looking person to a homeless person. But that was as high as a person he could be, you know, by the end of his life, he was, you know, if you can control masses of people by going, I'm not going to eat, and therefore I am not going to have strength, and therefore I'm going to injure myself. And a world of people go, don't do that. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty impressive.
Totally. I mean, that's a really interesting thing, right? Because he was trying to find things throughout, you know, like how can I like instill nationalism? Okay, I know, you know, the Gandhi hat. Remember the like Topi, the Nehru.
Yeah, the Nehru. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then he had this moment where he was on a train, and he always took, you know, he rode third class always, and you know, there was someone who was, you know, from you know, who was poverty stricken, who saw him on the train, and he said, Gandhiji, I would love to wear a hat like that. I would love to, but I can't even afford to keep my dhoti clean. And dhoti is like, you know, it's a covering for like the bottom for a male in India. And I think it was a real moment of crisis for Gandhi because he realized, holy crap, like I've been trying to instill all of this, or trying to really bring in khadi, which is like the cotton cloth. You know, everyone's got to start doing this, and realizing like actually the poorest of the poor cannot even afford that. They can't afford that. And I think that's when he had this moment of like, I need to dress in a loincloth. And that's what I need to do. For me, I need to do that. And he was totally advised, like the people around him were like, Gandhi, no, like people are going to think you've gone crazy. You can't, you know, you look homeless.
Right.
And it was, so I think actually when it begun, it was just like it was sort of an experiment. He wasn't expecting he wasn't going to be wearing it for the rest of his life.
Right.
But that's kind of, yeah, I think it just kind of, he started wearing it, and it was like, it felt like it really stuck for him.
Mm-hmm.
It is phenomenal, right? Like a person who totally walks a walk in whatever moment he's in,
Right.
or she's in, or they're in, or
no, that's it. You've run out of things. That's it. There's only 3.
Tons of pronouns. There's lots of them.
There's tons of what? What did you say? Oh, I mean, he, they, them. That isn't them. That's a big one. Come on. That's the rest, I feel, but like, what the hell do I know? Listen, it's funny about the thing. I can see his inner circle or whatnot going like, dude, we are dealing with poor people, and poor people like looking up to someone. And even if these people dislike the British, and God knows there's a reason for it, they want to see their person being as British and or as white as possible. And that meant being, you know, driven around and wearing lovely suits and being immaculate. And yeah, man, that is what people wanted to look up to. So yeah, I could see that as being quite
he's radical.
Yeah.
He was a radical dude.
Sure.
Wouldn't have been super fun at a dinner party, probably.
I wonder if he was funny though.
I think he was. I think he was. He was pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. That's good. I marked down, let's talk about Gandhi for 15 minutes, and we did it. I was wondering, do you still travel a lot? Are you actually? Can I ask where the heck you came from?
Yeah.
Were you here? Were you there? Where were you? I was there. I'm not here. I'm here now.
You're here now. You're here now.
Yeah.
I love.
Try and get rid of me.
Asked where I come from, Chungaze. Thank you. I do love.
I want to know street roads.
Okay. Well, okay. So travel. I haven't really traveled since,
since the world ended. Yeah.
The world ended.
Yeah.
But I have been doing a lot of astral travel.
Oh. Okay. Do you use the silver string? Do you use the silver thread?
Oh yeah, we all have that.
Okay, because you got to get back.
Oh yeah.
Got to get back.
You do not want to cut, never cut.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to know my background? Like where?
Yeah. Knock it. Do it. Drop it.
Okay, cool. Woo. Okay, so I was actually born here in Calgary.
God, that's insane. That's insane. I know 3 people who were born in Calgary, but okay.
Yeah.
Everyone comes here.
I know everyone comes here, but not me. No, I was born here.
Nice.
And what is really interesting is my parents were not born here. My dad came here as a refugee from Uganda.
Oh, okay.
During the Idi Amin crisis in the early 70s. So there's a huge influx of East Indians that came from East Africa.
Right.
Well, Uganda. Okay. So he came to Canada as a refugee because he was basically kicked out of his country and had a machine gun pointed at his head. He was like, okay, you need to leave. And yeah, so that's a whole other thing. He has it's crazy story. In fact, it's why I wanted to become a filmmaker. That's actually the origin of it, because I thought, man, this is a killer story.
Have you been able to tell that story yet, or is it still just percolating?
I had started. I actually started making a documentary called "The Mangoes Were Sweeter Back Home," and I was developing it with was it with the NFB? I think. Yeah. A long time ago, and you know what? It wasn't the right time for me to make that film.
Okay.
I think timing is a major thing when it comes to filmmaking, and it wasn't the right time, and I don't know if it was the right genre. It might have to be. I don't know if it's meant to be a documentary. I don't know what it'll be.
Interesting, because it doesn't have to be, and also it can be a hybrid. It can be whatever the hell you want. That's interesting. I've had a few filmmakers reach out to me. They want to make a story about my mom, just because coming out of a little village and then sort of being a world champion of martial arts, or the modeling or the movie acting or whatever BS. But I'm like, Dad's story was actually more interesting We just don't talk about it too much. And I kind of, since I don't know dates or anything anymore, I kind of wanted to do like a one-man show. I just thought like at a coffee house or something, have photographs projected behind me, and I'd be like, stories my dad told me. Do you know what I mean? Because I dates and things, some of the stuff doesn't gel, but it's like I'm 80% sure half of the stuff happened. So hey, that's a show. Let me know if you ever need any artwork for your dad's story if it happens, because I think it should be a hodgepodge.
Tons of art, right? Yeah,
I do some art.
Yeah, I got your book.
Okay.
I got your
Thank
book.
you.
Yeah. So so dad comes to Canada, and my parents were engaged at the time.
Okay.
He's really young. He was like 22 or 23 when he came here. And he was by himself, and he was like, "Where the hell have I come? It's freezing cold. Oh my god." But
what year did he get here? Sorry.
It would have been 72.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he saved up money. My mom was born in Kenya, and so he, saved a bunch of money, and then she went down, and she was just like, "Where the hell are we? Are you kidding me?" Because where they're from, it is gorgeous all year long.
Right.
So they I don't know, but it's a safe place. It's safe. So, and then of course the miracle of me happened a few years later. But before my parents ended up in Africa, because my grandparents are actually my grandmother and grandfather, both sides actually, are all from Gujarat in India, and Gujarat is actually very close to a place called Porbandar. So they're from villages that are close to a city.
Porbandar. Bandar is monkey.
Porbandar.
But what is the Porbandar part?
Actually,
I don't know.
Bandar. It's actually not.
It's not.
It's.
I guess I don't know.
It might be monkey in what language?
In Urdu, but Urdu is the bastard language of all those, so it's taken.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, I'm not going to ask you what it means.
Okay. Yeah.
A shout out to Porbandar, everyone.
Shout out, because Gandhi, that's birthplace of Gandhi, yo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
Gandhi is born very close to where my lineage is, like we're the same area. And so my grandparents ended up, like, it was the empire was huge, and of course the British had, colonized India as well as East Africa. So there's a lot of opportunity there. So my grandparents, there's actually a massive amount of Asians or I don't know, what do we call each other? Like
well, East Indian. I mean, this feels right.
East Indians.
Yeah. You can call yourself whatever you want.
Gujaratis, and actually, there's tons of Gujaratis. There are tons of Punjabis. There's just a ton of people from India that ended up in East Africa. So my grandparents, they all immigrated there when they were quite young, and were living in these sort of diasporic communities where Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus lived in peace.
Well, as they also did in India before it got chopped up, I don't know. I remember hearing stories about, in religious places where they would read from one book and read from another book, and they'd do that. They would do that.
Cool. They were pretty chill.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So that's like. Yeah, well, thank you for asking me. I actually really do like being asked that, because it's cool to kind of go, hey, yeah, like, here's my...
Well, I think it's the tone of how, like, where the hell are you from?
Yeah.
Maybe that's less...
Where are you from?
Yeah. May I touch your hair?
Go home. I've actually been told to go home. I've been told to go home.
I get told to go home monthly, and that's just around this house. Like, that's just you try living with a British person and having any kind of Indian heritage. I'm happy to have this space. This is my safe space in my little office
with your cartoons.
Yeah, with my cartoons and comics. Don't make fun of them. That's not how we do. You ever look at something you wrote and you're like, what the hell does this mean? That's how I feel these notes are.
Just roll them off your tongue.
Just roll them off the tongue. It doesn't look. I'll tell you. My notes say crowdfunding / meditation / I'm going to start with acting. Have you ever done any acting? Is that one of the? I don't know why I don't know that about you.
I don't know that about me.
Yeah, I mean, you've made things. Do you put yourself in them? Are you that person?
I like the cameo every now and then.
You'll Hitchcock that. You'll just be on a bus.
Yeah.
Nice.
I kind of like that. I like the little oh, we need an extra. I'll do it. I kind of like that.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of acting. Acting's super fun, but I think I'm actually a terrible actor, but I really love it. It's so much fun to pretend. I was in this amazing epic show called, can you punch in?
Give me a second. I might be able to. Oh, done something. There it is.
Let's Talk English.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was in this show called Let's Talk English, which was on Omni TV.
Right.
And
but there's no English speaking.
Well, there's you're
no,
like
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But it's really funny because actually English is my second language. My mother tongue is Gujarati, so I'm a terrible English speaker.
You seem fine, but are you a terrible English speller? Because I spell things phonetically.
I don't know.
That's how you can't tell I'm terrible at English when you listen to me talk.
No,
I seem like I know,
you're
but if you see me try and spell,
really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Gujarati.
So yeah, Gujarati. Let's Talk English. It was this epic. It was just hilarious show. And you know who was in the show? Andrew Fung.
Very cool.
Andrew Fung. He's like mega star now. And Trent McClellan. Do you know Trent?
He sounds very Canadian with that last name. But no, I don't know if I can.
He's amazing. He's a hilarious comedian, and he's in on that CBC show. I'm forgetting the name.
All right.
You know the funny one, the one where they
the funny one, Little Mosque on the Prairie.
Not Little Mosque on the Prairie, no.
Little Mosque on the Prairie. Okay.
Little Mosque, no.
Yeah.
Little Mosque. Anyway, it's I'll remember it when we're done, and then I'll be like,
oh! Yeah. Just put it in the bottom. We'll get that information to the viewers later. Thanks so much. Yeah. Trevor McClellan.
Trent.
Oh, Trent. See, that's why you should have said Trent. Because my brain is thinking Trevor.
Trevor.
Yeah. Trevor McClellan is no one.
Yeah.
He's legitimately no one. He was just a guy who used to cheat off me in math, and then he failed. I didn't because I knew information on our teacher. So, what the hell were we talking about? So acting, you think you might be terrible at it. Great. I think I might be terrible at it. I'm not.
You're not.
I think I might be.
So
maybe you are an actor. Maybe you are a natural born actor if you have that fear of being terrible.
No, it's not a fear, man. It's that's but I shouldn't say that because maybe I'd like to. It is fun I love it. It's really fun. And actually, am I terrible? Maybe I'm not terrible.
Hey, I'm telling you, you're not an actor then. I've called it. Forget it. Whatever the time is, 4:11, Calgary. She's out. So when you're writing, because you write.
I do. I like writing dialogue. So Patrick, who you know, Patrick McLaughlin.
Yes.
Who is my husband. And
he's still with us, right? I don't know why are we doing this.
My BOP, because he's in my heart. He's in my heart.
Nice. I don't like Patrick, but please continue.
Yeah. People have a heart.
Well, I mean, one, he looked a lot like Val Kilmer, not Val Kilmer now, but back in the day, very successful, good at his job. I don't like people like that. Yeah, I don't care to be near them. But please go on, keep talking about this guy.
Well, yeah, so he's all of those things and so much more. He's actually, he's amazing. He is like a genius. And I just really freaking lucked out in marrying a DOP who was so good. So good. And he's actually an incredible writer as well. So often we will write together, and I usually, I'm more of a dialogue person.
Okay.
So I love working with dialogue and diving into characters. I really dig the character thing.
Dialogue is very tough. Now, do you ever get, you ever do you send it to people you kind of trust before you make it, as they say in the old world, paka? Do you do that?
Paka.
Paka,
Yeah.
before it's solid, before it's in stone. Do you do that?
Totally.
Because I find dialogue tough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We will, if it's the type of script, or if we feel like it's solid, we pretty much both know it's solid. I mean, now, but I think if we were making something that was, a feature that we really needed to, we wanted to make sure that it all made sense. And we send it out to people who we trust and get them to take a look, and before we, go.
Right. Do you let the actor kind of massage it a bit? You let them have a little bit of play, or?
Oh yeah, I love that. I love working like that. So I love working with actors so much, because
I don't, but I have to. Sorry, continue. Just don't get between me and the camera, Kevin. Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, I think what's so cool about film, it's my favorite thing, is how collaborative it can be and how collaborative it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have a line, and then an actor will just will dismantle it and turn it into something way better than you could have ever even imagined. And so I'm like, go for it, especially if it can be done. I love that. I'm definitely not I'm married to anything. I think if anything, I might get married to little details. I'm kind of like a detail,
okay.
No, that girl must wear orange nail polish and it has to have glitter on it.
Gotcha.
I will not compromise with my vision of her nails.
Yeah, I ask that of most of the women I meet as well. Orange, glitter, done. My kind of people. That's good. What the hell? I was going to say something else about the lines or the acting. I don't remember. Oh, there are a few times. It hasn't happened a lot to me, but there's a few times where you really believe you know the character. It's all on the page. You get it. You've talked to the people, whatever, and then it's you, and then you sit with it. And we don't really get to sit with stuff, often you get something, and in 3 days you're filming it, and you're like, well, I'll try and do something with this. But there's a point where I sometimes believe that we know more about the character or the person than the writer does. Like the writer started it, built this lovely whatever, and then you took it, you put yourself in it, you put it on you or whatever, and then you could legitimately have talks with the writer and be like, I would never do that. I'd never say that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you had that experience. But
yeah, no, I think that's really huge, because even as a director, right? I think you kind of have to get to the point where it's you write something, and if you're not often I write and then I'll direct that, right? So I really have a clear vision of how the character is going to be. And then when I cast, it's about casting, right? So often what I'll do is Patrick and I will write something, and we'll actually already have an actor in mind.
Right. Well, it's just, even if you don't cast that person, it's easier to write that way, isn't it? You write with their voice, sort of.
Yeah, to have the voice, and you kind of know exactly. And then I think that the thing is when you do cast and you give it to the actor, then the actor makes it. Then it's kind of in their court. It becomes their baby, their thing, and then I work back and forth, and I think it's awesome. I love that. It's good.
It sounds like you do. We're getting up to the I don't remember when we started because I hit the wrong goddamn button. My brain says it would be 40, I don't know, 3 minutes.
Yeah, how long?
And 3 hours. Oh. So we're at minute 43 of a 3-hour program. By the end of it, we there's some swearing and there's some fighting, and then we ask the audience who won.
Would have been nice to have known that before I signed that.
No, I understand, and thank you for joining us. At such a late thing. Well, no, we try and get to, 50-50. You know what I mean? 50 for you, the guest, and 50 for me, the host. So whatever that is in math time. No, I'm kidding. Gary likes to keep it under an hour. And that's because he has less to say than I do. I'm trying to get fired.
You have a lot to say usually.
I know, right? Which is great for this type of thing. Hey, is there any goals or anything you want to accomplish? Anything left to accomplish? I notice I didn't tell you when we're ending the show. You just have to have that wrapped around your head while you answer this question. Is there something you wanted to do and you haven't done yet? I mean, other than the story of your family?
Do you mean in the film world?
It doesn't have to be.
Film?
What is the other business the other business? It seems holistic.
Yeah, I'm a biodynamic craniosacral therapist.
I got two of those, bio and dynamic. I understand them. Not really in a sentence, but
craniosacral therapist.
Cranial.
It's like a super crazy long name. I don't know why they named it that because it's like, I don't know.
What's the acronym for that?
It's BCST. BCST.
That sounds a lot like beast. That's the way I'd spell it. Again, English wasn't my favorite,
No, it's really magical and cool, and I just love it. And basically, it's a modality, a complementary modality of healing, where it's based on light touch. So you literally put your hand on someone like that, really lightly, and your nervous system connects to their nervous system, and we're
through sweat, kids. Go ahead.
And we're trained to feel into the tissues, so the fascia, the organs, the bone structure, so you can feel kind of like the skeletal structure, and also the fluids, so the blood. So you can feel you can literally touch someone's head and you can feel their head, you can feel their brain. It's amazing when you can start feeling a person's brain. And it's really, it's just super cool. And it's really great for people who've had concussions. If you're really, struggling with anxiety, depression, tennis elbow, it's super, super amazing, really non-invasive. And it's amazing. And
how long have you been a practitioner of that? And was it something that you would have expected? Like you went and got work done on you, and then went, wait a second, or how did that even? All those questions. There's a question in it. There's two questions in there.
It's like that's how many hours do you have left?
Minutes. We have minutes, so be snappy about it.
Really, minutes? Okay. Yeah, it's I don't know. I have a really good friend who's doing this work, and she's telling me all about it, and I'm like, that's so awesome. The idea is that your body can heal itself, and that we have the intelligence to do that. And if you're held in a relational field, you can do that. So when I was after I had my kids, I was super depressed because I felt like my film career was over. And I don't know, I think I just went through some postpartum stuff. And so I started getting, some craniosacral therapy work and done. And I was like, the first time I had it done, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I can feel my body. It's really about embodiment. And I just started to feel so powerful. And it's just super, super empowering. And I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I felt like such a massive, intense amount of healing went on. And I really didn't originally think I'd ever do any sort of, it seems so far out there from film work, which is what I've done my whole life. But I realized that actually there's a total correlation, because when you're directing and you're working with actors, or if you're shooting a documentary and you're interviewing someone, there is a total relational field that you set up. You set up a safe space. So your actors feel comfortable, and they're so vulnerable, right? People become so vulnerable, and you need to be there to hold it and hold that field. And that's something that, I've trained in that. That's like my go-to. It's my favorite thing to do, which is why I love working with actors, because actors, they become, I don't know, they allow themselves to be I don't know, you have to hold it. I know I'm not really being very articulate about that, but I
No,
think
no, I get it, because if we are in a place where we're not 100% supported, and you have to do something and it's stupid. You have to do something, and I mean, like it's built that way. It's built to be stupid. Run in, fall, say this thing that's dumb, and do whatever. If you don't feel supported and you don't feel safe and you don't have some trust in, like, this is going to look good, it's going to sound good, no one's going to come back, no one over here is going to laugh at me or whatever. If you don't have that, it's a hard day at the office.
yeah,
You
totally.
still have to do it. If you want to call you a professional, you still have to do that stuff. But yeah.
But being held is
Mhm.
massive. It's so massive, right? And so in this work, it's just like a natural transferred skill, because that's basically what you're doing is you're sitting and you're holding space, and you need to feel what the other person's feeling. And I think when in directing, let it be documentary or film, you need to meet a person where they're at. You need to meet them where they're at, and you cannot be judgmental. Like, that's a big part of it, right? Like, if you're judgy, even if a person doesn't recognize it in the moment, their nervous system's smart enough to recognize it. Like, something kind of goes, I want to hold back. I don't think I feel safe enough to open. And so in the therapy, it's a lot like that, where you really need to hold that non-judgmental space and meet someone where they're at. So that's kind of, yeah, that's like the gist of it. And so it just sort of it happened organically. It was really weird. I was like, what? I'm going to do this. And the training it's intense. The training was really intense. It's like a 2-year program. But now I'm practicing and I love it. And then I do film the rest of the time. So
Very nice.
yes.
Miss Nina, I realize we've run a little long on the tooth. I blame you, and that's fine. I kind of want to show that video for Bridging the Gap. I would sort of love to show that, and then we can go off into the distance. We can go our separate ways, which, let's face it, is what we want to do anyway.
So say goodbye now, and then
no. We do you want to set up the thing at all?
Sure.
For this, yeah, please.
Sure. Okay, so Bridging the Gap is the latest project that I'm working on. It's a documentary about newcomers, immigrants, refugees to Canada, and it's really focused on the educational system and how there's sort of this disconnect between educators, policymakers, and then people coming into the school system, parents, families, like not knowing English and not being able to speak to students. And, there's a whole plethora of things that kind of go on that can set up a kid or make or break their entire educational career based on what happens when they first enter into the system, the educational system. So the film is really about, it's kind of sharing stories to help educators and policymakers understand what we need and what, just sort of shedding a light on these like little cultural stories that are going on. They're not little, they're big.
Right.
And so this crowd, we're obviously, like, funding is the thing all the time. So part of this is we're doing a crowdfunder to try to raise a bit more funding to make it a fabulous film.
Okay. Well, why don't we take a look at the fabulous clip, and then we'll be back to say our goodbyes.
One of the biggest challenges that families face coming into Canada is language barriers, cultural barriers, not to mention the issue of mental trauma and anxiety that many of these families have undergone in order to make it into a country like Canada. with this rise in newcomers, it's pretty obvious that there needs to be a focus on things like community engagement, academics, hand in hand with people like teachers, administrators, policymakers, schools, and more broadly, people in the society need to work together to improve the lives of those coming into the country. The documentary is really a crucial piece in all of this because it's going to tell the story through the voices of the people who are basically going through these experiences and provide a more holistic picture of what this experience really looks like for them. If you support this project, you're enabling us to bring it to completion and then share the results not just within Alberta, but nationally and internationally. That is huge. Enhancing a global understanding of how do you work with people who are different but are also similar, working in a way that we want to be united at the end of the day. That is what Bridging the Gap is all about.
And there we go. That was lovely. All right. I took some notes. I didn't take any notes. I should have, though. I should always take notes. Check this out. I've learned how to put a banner up. So, Miss Nina,
my website is so out of date.
You know, that's gone. Look at that. Look how fast that was.
That's good.
That never happened, kids. I'm so proud. I'm so proud for a second. I hit the right button. Okay, Miss Nina. So the show's over. I mean, you know, from my understanding, I'm going to ask you to stick around for a minute after we're done. That's usually a debriefing time. Gary, my producer and regular host, usually apologizes for something I've said to the guest. So we'll just figure out what that is together, though, without him.
There'll be lots. So
oh, good. Well, shit. And that's my third one. Boom. You know, the only thing I work on less than intros are outros. So I just want to say thank you so much for being you and allowing me and us to be part of it. To be part of it. Right?
You're welcome. Oh, I'm going to give you some love.
Okay. How do I accept it?
Just
do I have to shut up?
Your hands.
Should I be quiet? Should I be quiet for this?
Yeah, and then okay, so here. Okay, ready? I'm going to give it to you. Ready? And now take it out. There, now, and then bring it back to yourself. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that. My fingers tingled a little bit. It could have just been a stroke.
Well, no.
I'm on the spectrum. You know, once again, thank you so much. And guys, look at that. I just transitioned right from you to up there, which is where my eye line should have been probably the whole damn time. Guys, thank you so much for watching Talent Talk. We're going to be here next week. There's going to be another guest. Someone will be sitting there. Someone will be sitting here. Hopefully you'll be as entertained as you were today, or at least as I was. So one more time, please thank me for thank me. I've ruined it.
Sudra.
I've ruined it. I said, let me join me. I think I meant join me. Join me in thanking Miss Nina Sudra. Thanks all, and see you next time.
Thanks, Chengiz.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
Stop it.